So with this much done, basically the front neck being modified, we can do a few things. We could either do the sleeve, or we can do the collar, or we can do the flange. I'm going to say let's start with the collar. So for the collar, we need the front and back bodice. And what we need to know is the length of the neckline so from center back neck to the shoulder seam to our new center front neck style line, we need to know that measurement. So I have a flexible ruler that I could use to measure it, or I think probably one of my favorite ways is just with a tape measure. So I'll just put the tape measure on center front, and then use my awl to help me pivot as I walk the tape measure around the neckline. So my front neck appears to be 3 7/8. So front neck 3 7/8, and then my back neck is 3 1/2. I'm just going to double check my front neck because I really feel like it should be 2 7/8, and because it's 7/8 and that's really close to the 3, I was looking at the 3 instead of the 2. So I just want to double check. Nope. 3 7/8. Okay. So now I know my neck measurements. I need a piece of dot paper. So I have this scrap from before. So I'm just going to keep these with me here. So I'm going to start from center back, and I just draw a straight line on my paper, and then I draw a line that is square to the straight line on my paper. And I forgot to show you the textbook, but this is a Mandarin collar, and our measurements are a little different than what's in the book. So what I've done so far is I drew a straight line for center back, and then this is going to be my neck, where my neck goes, and then my collar height is 1 inch. So, and that is a style choice, and the dress that we're modeling ours after had a 1-inch collar, so I'm just gonna draw a parallel line 1 inch away. And then from center back neck, I'm gonna measure the 3.5 that I measured on my, when I measured my garment. So and then this becomes my shoulder. It'll be a notch someday, once we add seam allowance and whatnot. And then from there, I'm gonna measure my front neck measurement. So that, it's not really center front anymore because we backed it off, but I'm just gonna call it CF. And then from our center front mark, I'm going to measure up a 1/2 inch. And then from there, I'm going to measure up 1 inch. And then I'm going to use my curve to draw a curve line from this 1/2 inch line back to my shoulder. There we go. So it's pretty gentle. I'm not using the curviest part of my curve. I'm using the flatter part of my curve. And then I'm going to measure, I'm going to mirror this line 1 inch above. So I'll just dot myself some lines. There's some little dashes that I can use. To mimic that curve. And then I'll use the curviest part of the French curve to kind of create, let's see how to do this, something like that, to create the front of the collar shape. So that becomes our collar. So I'll cut that out so that it's more readily, the shape is more readily visible. Oh, this, by the way, will be on fold. I'm gonna make the CB smaller so I can CB on fold. And then we can do the little maybe like that. So I'll put my little grain line there. And then I'll cut it out so the shape is more visible. So we're going to need 2 of these for an under collar and an upper collar. This looks so skinny. So there is our mandarin collar. I think I have written the label for it. We're going to need 2 of them on the fold. So I have labels for 2 of them. Hopefully I made it small enough. It'll fit once I put the seam allowance on it, but will it fit before I put the seam allowance on it? Oof, barely. So I wrote block fuse on it because we're gonna fuse it. And there we go. There's our collar piece. So now I think we need to do the sleeve and the flange, and then we're done.